Hi, my name is Nicholas. Welcome to this week's Hatha practice. There aren't really any specific props for today, but generally a couple hard blocks and a soft block can be handy to have around. And if there's anything else that you know that you need, then get that as well. When you're ready, we'll get started down on the back. If for any reason this shape doesn't work for you, then feel free to find any other comfortable, symmetrical, quiet shape instead. If you are coming down to the back, just take your time to set up and see straight away what position, what shape for the body feels the most comfortable. If it means having the legs extended, then great. If you'd rather find butterfly legs or easy pose legs or something else, then go for it. And see where you want the arms. They can be anywhere beside the body, on the body, overhead. Maybe give the hips a little rock, the head a little rock. And then see here if there's any prop that would help you feel a little more comfortable in this shape, and you can add that in. When you're ready to close down your eyes, go for it. Otherwise, a soft gaze. And as your body finds stillness here, take a moment to check in, take a scan from the feet to the head, and just see what everything feels like. Notice your headspace as well, see what that feels like. Is it busy or quiet, or something else? And then building on this awareness of the body and of the mind, and slowly start to deepen the breath. Finding your long, smooth inhales and exhales. Notice if the mind has started to wander, and see if you can bring it back to the breath, back to the body.
And before we start to move, see if you'd benefit from some more time in stillness. You're welcome to stay as long as you need. And only when you feel ready to start to move, wiggle the fingers out, wiggle the toes, and give the head a rock side to side. You can work with just the legs here or working with the arms as well. Reach the arms to the floor overhead. And then shift the hips to the left a little bit, walk the feet towards the bottom right, and then the arms towards the top right until you're in a crescent moon shape. Notice if the left side of the pelvis is trying to lift up off the floor, see if you can keep it heavy. And then breathe into the stretch through the whole left side of the body. And then releasing slowly back to center. And take the hips to center and then over to the right, arms and legs over towards the left. Finding the stretch through the right side of the body and breathe into it. And then slowly coming back to center, releasing the arms down towards your sides, and then we'll bend the knees and plant the feet flat to the floor. You might reach down, maybe you can barely touch the heels. Set the feet up in a place that they feel stable, so maybe it's hip distance apart, maybe the feet are roughly underneath the knees. And then find your robot arms, so elbows are by the rib cage, fingertips towards the ceiling. And take a moment to lift and spread the toes and lower them down with maybe a little distance in between. Take a moment to connect the whole sole of each foot to the floor, and then press down the elbows, the triceps, the shoulders. And with an inhale breath, we'll lift the pelvis up towards the ceiling, and then pause here when you arrive. The arms can stay right here. If you want to extend them, go for it. Keep the feet pressing down, keep the shoulders pressing down. If you need a little more room to breathe, lift the chin towards the ceiling. The last few deep breaths here. And then when you're ready, slowly sequence the spine back down. And you can stay exactly as you are, or if you prefer, feet wide, knees together. And then take a few breaths in stillness. And when you're ready, walking the feet back in, we'll set up for one more round. If you need to modify it in any way, then go for it. And take a moment to find that foundation. And then press hands, or elbows rather, feet, shoulders down to the floor with an inhale breath. Lift the pelvis up. And then we'll pause here for about 6 breaths. And listen to your body. If you need a slightly different variation, then go for it. And when you're ready, slowly lower the spine back down. Feet wide, knees together, or the opposite. Find your stillness for a few deep breaths. And then from here, keeping the feet nice and wide, maybe about as wide as the mat, lower both sets of knees over towards the right hand side. If you need to add some support for either knee, then go for it. If you want something a little deeper and the left knee is quiet, think about stacking that right ankle on top of the left thigh. Notice especially that left line of the body. Breathe into whatever you're feeling. And if the right ankle is stacked, you can lower it down. With an inhale, lift the knees towards the ceiling. If you need to reset, go for it. And with your exhale, lower the knees down towards the second side. This side may need slightly different support. The option is there to stack the left ankle over the right leg, only if that works for this side. And breathe here. All right, left foot finds the floor, knees back to center, and just windshield wiper the knees side to side a couple of times. And you can keep the windshield wiper going a little while longer, or collect the knees into your chest, and then make some small circles with the small of the back, one direction, maybe for 5 or 6 rounds, and then we'll switch. And then changing direction as you're ready. All right, now take a knee in each hand and imagine you're circling the right knee counterclockwise and the left knee clockwise and start to draw some big circles. Find a range of motion that feels good in your body. You can be moving with the breath, you can be moving faster. You can also pause somewhere along the way if you find a sticky spot. All right, and change direction when you're ready. And then collecting the knees back in the chest. Bring the hands behind the knees now. We'll rock up and down the spine. Do this a few times, but stay mindful that you're not putting pressure on the neck. We're going to come up and go straight to boat pose. So if you want to play with the transition straight up to boat, then go for it. Otherwise, when you make your way up, you can touch the feet down, make any adjustments that you need, and then you can set up for boat that way. The feet don't have to leave the floor. You can hover them, you can extend the legs, you can release the arms. So find your version. It's still early in practice. Make sure you can breathe that length into the spine. Find a little softness for the shoulders, for the face. Maybe close down the eyes and take about 5 deep breaths.
All right. If the feet are lifted, bring them down. And from here, we'll extend the legs long. If you have a soft block nearby, it might feel more comfortable to sit up off of the edge of it. Setting up for staff pose. So the legs don't have to be fully extended. And when you're standing up, if you have a distance between the feet, then find a similar distance here. If the legs are extending too much and you want to add some support, then maybe your blocks. One option is to have the hands by your sides, but depending on your proportions, if the hands don't reach the floor, then blocks for the hands can be useful too. You can stay exactly here. You can have the hands to prayer as well. More challenge might be to reach the arms up towards the ceiling. And then take a moment to notice that length from the heels to the tailbone, and then from the tailbone to the crown of the head, to the tips of the fingertips. Notice if something's holding here that doesn't have to be. Maybe as the arms came up, the shoulders did too. Maybe they can lower a little bit. And keep breathing space for the chest as well. Last few deep breaths. All right, release the arms down when you're ready. Bend the knees here. If you don't have to come flat, maybe you're just on the heels. And then with a tall spine, start to hinge from the hips. We'll bring the belly, the chest towards the thighs. Maybe let the head hang heavy. The arms can rest where it feels comfortable. And if you need to take the knees a little wider apart for this, then go for it. Noticing the back body for a moment. If it helps to rock side to side, then great. All right, when you're ready, you come on up. And from here, we'll swing the legs around, come to a tabletop position. You can move your props out of the way. Setting up hands, and spread the fingers nice and wide apart. Gently grip the finger pads into the floor. And then from here, tuck the toes, lift the knees, and we'll find downward facing dog. You might pedal out the heels a little bit. Notice the back line of the legs. Maybe sway the hips. You can shift your weight forward and back or side to side. And take a moment to really find that foundation with the hands and with the feet. Arms stay active, pressing into the floor. Head is hanging heavy. From here, bending the knees deeply, look to the top of the mat, take a deep inhale, and as you exhale, you can walk the feet towards the hands and find your forward fold. And just like that seated fold that we did, find a generous bend to the knees, rest the chest and the belly to the thighs. If you like to take hands to opposite elbows here, go for it. Any movement through the body or true stillness. And then if you have a bind, you can let that go. Bring the hands to the legs, and with an inhale, find a halfway lift. Lengthen the spine. As you exhale, fold in. And again, inhale, lengthen.
And exhale, fold. One more like that. A little different. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, pause. Walk the hands up a little. Inhale, come another halfway up. And exhale, pause. Now inhale the rest of the way. Reach the arms up towards the ceiling. If you're at all lightheaded, you can stay here. You can come partway down. And whenever you feel ready to, release the arms down to your sides. Release the shoulders, the hands, the feet, and then come and find your mountain pose. Whatever distance between the feet feels the most stable for you. And then broaden the chest, soften the shoulders. You might keep a small bend to the knees to keep the legs active. Notice your breath here. Finding space with each inhale, and then grounding with each exhale. And then when you're ready to move again, flutter the eyes, wiggle the fingers and the toes. If you're using blocks today, I would suggest having one at either end of the mat just so that they're handy if and when you need them. And then from the top of your mat, we'll set up the left foot. So spread the toes nice and wide apart, lower them one by one, two by two. And we are going to balance for this first shape. So if you want to be close to a wall, go for it. And then you can go back to your mat when we flow to the next shape. So setting up for eagle, if you're familiar with the shape and you know that a block is handy for you, you can set it up next to that left foot. With an inhale, we'll lift the right knee up and then hug the inner thighs together, wrap the right leg around the left. So the block is there if you want to touch down, if that helps with balance. There's also the option to cross ankle to ankle if that's better for your body. If you have space for the double loop with the foot, then great too. So find your version of the shape and then start to sink into it a little bit. Notice what the body's doing here. Notice if you're kind of turning your chest off center. See if you can keep it mostly towards the front. And then option to add eagle arms. You can reach them wide with an inhale. And then take the left underneath the right. Hands can find the shoulders. Or you can continue the interlace through the forearms. And the deeper you go into the shape, the more the legs might feel like they're working. It might help with balance a little bit. So find a place between the two. Find a balance between the two. And breathe. All right, we'll keep the arms, but press the left foot to the floor, lift the right knee up to center, deep inhale. And with your exhale, start to hinge from the hips. And when the spine comes towards parallel to the floor, start to extend that right leg behind you for a warrior 3 variant. Arms can stay, or hands can release to a block straight away if you want more support. Breathe here, extend from that right heel to the crown of the head. Left foot pressing to the floor actively. All right, one last inhale. As you exhale, step the right foot all the way to the back. And now take your weight towards that right foot. Spin the right foot out, and then bend the right knee, extend the left leg for a side lunge. You might need to adjust your proportions. And if the right heel wants to lift up, that's fine. Just listen to your body and find your version of the shape. Now check in here for a moment, see what feels good. Hands can stay down. You can bring the hands up to balance. Notice that left leg as well. If the knee is locking, then maybe you bend it a little bit. Breathe wherever you are.
All right, you can bring the fingertips down to the floor. Slowly press the right foot down to extend that right leg, and then lower the left toes down. Now walk your hands towards the top of the mat. You can find your block here, set it left hand to the inside of the left leg, and then press the hips towards the right as you reach the right arm up towards the ceiling for triangle. If there's anything you need to adjust in your body, go for it, but don't worry too much about where the feet are pointing, as long as the shape feels stable. Notice the space from the tailbone to the crown of the head. Find length there. Notice the space from the heels to the tailbone and find length there as well. All right, stay here. Take one last inhale. Reach that right arm high. As you exhale, bring the right hand down, spin the left foot in, and we'll set up for a wide-legged fold. You can bring your prop with you. If you need to adjust the feet, then great. Feet can be pointing forward, slightly in, slightly out, so see what feels best for knees, ankles, hips. One option, the hands can stay on the floor the whole time. You could also work from a halfway lift if that's better for the low back. If it's okay to let the spine hang heavy, then great. You might bring the hands to the low back. You might interlace the hands, or you might interlace the hands and reach them up towards the ceiling. Find your version of this shape. Any adjustments you need to make, then go for it. Breathe into it. If the arms are lifted, you can bring the hands back down. Find a halfway lift shape. Now spin the right foot towards the back of the mat. Start to bend the right knee, and then walk the hands towards that top left-hand corner, the new top left. And now from here, we'll set up a shape that's between a humble warrior and down dog. So you can start to walk your hands forward here and then plant the palms to the floor and really press the hands down. You'll feel the hips lift a little, and that's okay. You might even back out of that right knee a little bit if it gives you a feeling that the spine is angling towards the floor. So almost like warrior two legs, really press that right foot down, really press the pinky toe edge of the left, and breathe here. Notice where the hips are. If that right hip started to sway out behind you, see by pressing down the feet if you can keep the hips to midline. Last couple deep breaths here. All right, walk the hands back in, and now point towards the back of the mat, lift the back heel, drop the back knee, and then walk the right foot to the right. Lizard lunge, so right toes can point forward or out to the side. You could also flex the foot and come to the pinky toe edge if that's better for your body. Any props that you need to add in, go for it. And then we'll find a lizard twist here. So left hand can stay down, right hand can find the right knee. If you want to reach back, maybe a quad stretch is available. That's great too. Whatever you're choosing, settle into your shape and breathe into it. If you have the left foot in your hand, you can release it gently. Bring both hands back underneath you. And tuck the back toes, lift the back knee, deep inhale. And as you exhale, we'll step the left foot outside the left hand and set up for a squat. So standing squat if that's better for you. If for any reason a squat doesn't work at all, maybe you're finding a seat and taking butterfly legs, or maybe you want to come straight to standing. The hands, if they're leaving the floor, you can press the palms together and press the knees into the elbows back into the knees, and then lengthen the spine, tailbone to crown, soften shoulders, maybe close down the eyes. And when you're ready, you bring the hands back to the floor and start to lift the hips towards the ceiling, heel toe the feet a little closer together. Finding your forward fold, it might feel nice to move the legs a little bit here. Maybe sway the upper body as well. If there's a bind you like to explore, then go for it. Movement or stillness, take a few breaths here. And when you're ready, hands to the legs, inhale, halfway lift, and fold. And again. Two more. Last one. Now inhale, halfway lift. Stay here, exhale, lengthen. Inhale, halfway more. Pause, exhale. And then inhale, come the rest of the way up, reach the arms up towards the ceiling, and pause. Arms stay or release. Find your mountain pose, take your time. Grounding through the feet, rebounding through the spine, maybe closing down the eyes. And when you're ready, you wiggle the fingers and the toes and flutter open the eyes. We'll set up eagle on the second side. So this time you might bring a block down by the right foot, lift and spread the right toes out. And again, if you want to move closer to a wall, then go for it. And pressing the right foot down, lift the left knee to center. And then with an exhale, we'll wrap the left thigh around the right. And all the same options. Toes can touch. You can cross ankles. You can do the double loop. When you're ready, start to bend into the standing leg, hips hinging back. And then check in here with the body. If you're adding arms, inhale, reach wide. And then exhale, right underneath left. Your version of eagle arms. And find that steady gaze. Find your steady breath. All right, you might keep the arms for this one. Inhale, breath, come on up, bring the left knee with you. And as you exhale, start to hinge forward. And when your spine comes towards parallel, you can start to shoot the left leg behind you. Find that length from the left heel to the crown of the head. You can always release the arms if you need to. Keep that right leg super active and breathe here. All right, take one last inhale. As you exhale, slowly step the left foot to the back. You can release the arms. And then from here, spin the left foot out. Start to bend the left knee, extending the right leg. And then see, this side may feel different to the first. So if the heel lifted on one side and not the other, that's fine. If you want to support it, go for it. And maybe you're challenging balance here. Maybe the hands stay down. See what the right leg needs. All right, hands find the floor. Lift the hips, and then right foot pointing towards the back. Start to walk your hands towards it, extending the left as well. And now from here, right hand to a block to the inside of that right leg, hips towards the left, and then inhale, reach the left arm up towards the ceiling. Notice what triangle feels like on this side, a slightly different transition into it, and sometimes that makes the shape itself feel a little different. So any adjustments you need to make, go for it. Keep the hips over towards that side as best you can, and breathe. All right, stay here. Take one last inhale. With your exhale, left hand comes down, hips sway back, right foot turns in. See what this side needs for your wide-legged forward fold. Maybe hands stay to a prop and you stay in a halfway lift. You can hinge and fold. Maybe now the feet need to be adjusted a little bit, maybe pointing in or out. Let the spine get heavy. If you like to explore the bind, then go for it. Awkward clasp this time. And then if you have the bind, you can release it. Hands down, find that halfway lift. And now spin the left foot towards the new top of the mat, bend the left knee. You can start to walk your hands towards the top right. Now finding that hybrid between down dog and warrior two, really set your foundation, set the feet, and start to walk the hands towards the top right.
Palms flat, press the hands to the floor, let the hips come back. And if you want to back out of the left knee a little bit, if that finds the downward slope for the spine, then please do. Breathe into your shape. And with an inhale, walk the hands back in, lift the back heel, exhale, drop the knee. Setting lizard lunge, second side, so left foot to the left, maybe you're winging the knee out a little bit. And finding your version of the twist, so maybe left hand to the left knee, left arm reaches up, or left arm reaches for the foot. You can mirror whatever you did on the first side, but if the side needs something a little different, then please make any modifications. If you have the back foot, you can release it, lowering both hands down to the floor. With the hands under the shoulders, lift the back knee, take an inhale, and exhale, right foot outside the right hand, and we'll sink the hips for a squat, second side. Maybe you need something different here. You can come to a forward fold, to standing, butterfly. Otherwise, if you're in squat, settle the hips, spine, chest stay lifted. Maybe close down the eyes. Wherever you are, if you're in squat, you can bring one hand behind you, then the other, lower the hips down. And it might feel nice to windshield wiper the knees side to side. All right, extending the legs, giving the backs and knees a tap, and then we'll lower down onto the back. If you want any props nearby, I'd suggest maybe the hard blocks on either side of the mat. And when you're ready, you can come down onto the back and walk the feet a little bit closer in, and then we'll lift the left leg up, cross the left ankle over the right knee. And this may feel like plenty, or you can thread the needle, reach through, catch hold of the hamstring, and maybe you're extending the leg. You can also catch hold of the shin, bringing the left leg a little bit closer, might deepen the stretch through the hip. If it helps to flex the left foot, if that helps the right knee feel more secure, then please do. And stillness, sometimes a gentle rock can feel good here too. Gently release the right foot down to the floor and then release the left as well. And we'll take it straight over to the second side. So right ankle over the left knee. Stay, reach through, mirroring whatever expression you did on the first side and modifying if this side needs something different. And again, flexing the foot might help that right knee feel a little more secure here. Maybe a little movement to help you settle in and find your breath. And gently releasing the left foot down to the floor and let the right join it. And then just check in here. It might feel nice to rest the knees in together and pause for a couple breaths. And windshield wiper might also feel good. All right. Now from here, walk the feet back into center and then find your block that's down on the right and keep it close by. And scoot the hips to the left, extend the right leg towards straight, and then guide the left knee across the body, and maybe it'll touch down onto the prop. Now, one option is to stay here. The second option is to bend, so the extended leg, the right leg, to bend the right knee, and then see if you can reach with the left hand to catch that right foot. The right hand can stay to the left knee. If the left shoulder is hovering, that's not a bad thing, but if it feels uncomfortable, maybe slide a prop underneath. And if you like to take the gaze down away from the knees, then maybe gaze down towards the left. If for any reason this twist isn't working for you, feel free to find your favorite expression. You can unravel the head first, and then slowly release the legs as well, the way you came in. So right leg can extend, unravel back to center. Hips to midline, knees together, and pause here for a couple of breaths. If your body's craving movement, then choose that instead. And then when you're ready for the second side, if you're using a block, set it up on your left. Extend the left leg long, hips towards the right a little bit. The left hand guides the right knee across the body and onto your prop. You can stay here or think about bending that left knee now. Maybe the right hand can reach down and catch it. And again, you can stay or gently turn the head down towards the right. And it's possible that this twist felt good on one side and not on the other. So if you need to switch it up, find something that feels similar in your body. And then gently release that left foot, let it extend, and slowly unravel the body back to center. Knees bent together or any other quiet shape. If you need movement, choose that. Take a couple of breaths. All right, when you're ready, walk the feet so that they're roughly underneath the knees once again, and look around. You can use one or two blocks or whatever else you have around. We'll press the feet down, lift the hips just enough that you can stack the props underneath the pelvis and find somewhere that feels supportive. We're going to set up for waterfall pose, so you can also adjust if you need something softer on the back or more or less height. And you can lift one knee up and then the other, and then we'll extend the feet up towards the ceiling. Whatever you're choosing, make sure it's not digging into the spine. Make sure it does feel supportive for you. The legs don't have to be fully extended as well. You could keep a slight bend to the knees. That might feel more comfortable. If you want to take the arms up to the ceiling, then go for it. Likewise with the arms, find a little bit of softness here. If the eyes want to close, then great. Notice what the shape feels like in the body. Now you might choose stillness here, or think about circling the right hand and right foot in a counterclockwise direction, and the left hand and foot in a clockwise direction, and then just see what ends up happening. You can move slowly or a little bit faster. You can pause as well. All right, we'll keep the left side going clockwise and then switch the right side to go clockwise as well. All right, keep the right side going clockwise, and can you change the left side to go counterclockwise? Apparently I cannot, but do your best.
And now both sides counterclockwise. And then release, give them a little shake out, and slowly lower the feet down to the floor. Now we'll keep the props a little while longer, so if they've shifted, then you can bring them back to center. We're going to find a front body stretch here, so if this feels like too much height, then please remove whatever you need. Think about extending one leg and then the other towards straight. Straight away, see what this feels like. If there's pinching in the low back or if it's just not working for you, then stay with the bent knee version. If with the legs extended, it feels good to kind of release the ankles, let the feet flop if they like, then great. Hands can be by the body, on the body, to the floor overhead. All right, if the arms are lifted, you can bring them back down and then slowly walk the feet in a little bit closer. With the feet roughly underneath the knees, press the feet just enough that you can slide your blocks out of the way. Let the pelvis lower down. We'll sit up for Shavasana here. We're going to rest in butterfly shape. If your body's asking for any last quiet shape or movement between now and then go for it. And if for any reason resting in butterfly doesn't work for you, then feel free to find a different quiet shape instead. For butterfly, we'll take the soles of the feet together, reach the knees apart, and then I like to support the knees and the hips a little bit by placing a block under each thigh. Maybe hands are somewhere on the body, belly, chest, by the sides, overhead. And take your time to settle in here. If you need to add any layers, if you need to untie hair, and take a few moments to find your shape and get comfortable in it. And a soft gaze or closed eyes. Just let the body come to stillness when you're ready. Releasing your breath back to its natural inhale and exhale. And settle in here.
Gently bring your attention back to the space, deepening your breath to reawaken the body. Giving the head a gentle rock side to side, wiggling the fingers and the toes. You can reach down and help the knees back together. Maybe you're taking the feet wide and pausing with knees together, or maybe you prefer to find a little movement, a windshield wiper side to side. Awesome. From here, it might feel nice to extend the legs long, extend the arms up overhead, find a full body stretch. Point the toes, point the fingers, wiggle hips and shoulders. And then roll down to one side wherever you have more room, and you can pause in a fetal position for a few breaths. With the support of the hands, as you're ready, coming up to find any comfortable seated position. If you're sitting cross-legged, you might choose to sit up off of a prop. Take your time to get comfortable, to settle whatever's touching the floor, to lengthen the spine. Soft shoulders, proud chest, length for the back of the neck. And then pausing here, taking these last few moments of practice to check back in with the body, with the breath, with the mind. Collecting the hands at the heart, bowing the chin towards the chest. And thank you for sharing your breath and your practice. Namaste. And thank you for joining me for practice today. My name is Nicholas. If you have any questions, please reach out and enjoy your week.